And are you on? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Oh, okay, I can hear me and I can hear you.
Beautiful. Even with the AC on, Chris? With the AC on, you can still hear everything?
I'm gonna turn this one off because it's too noisy. And
I didn't think that one was on, was it?
I guess you just turn that one off too. I think it's gonna be a long meeting.
I mean, I
I know.
could keep it on.
You wanna keep it on?
Yeah.
All right, yell.
I need it. I think
Speak loudly.
Will
Eric
do.
speaks loudly.
Yeah.
Yep, we're on that one. And we're recording and you're live.
Good evening. This open meeting of the Town of Auburn Board of Health is being operated as a hybrid format under Chapter 107 of the Acts of 2022. The public can join the meeting remotely by telephone by area code 224-501-3412 and access code 236-529-341, or join by computer by following links on the town's website. All supporting materials have been provided to the members of this body or are available to the town on the town's website. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda. As a preliminary matter, my name is Eric Otterson, Chairman of the Board of Health. Please confirm that all members are here and participating remotely can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Carolyn Griffin.
Here?
And town officials, if you are participating when I call your name, respond in the affirmative. Jordan Brusso,
Here.
Darlene Coyle.
Here.
Please note that this meeting is being recorded by Auburn Cable Television, and are there any applicants participating remotely? Seeing none, we will call the meeting to order. All right. Agenda items, are we removing any agenda items at all?
We're gonna hold on the minutes.
Okay, and we're holding on the minutes, agenda items, now we'll get right into the 6 o'clock hearing for a well variance and septic LUA request for 58 Kelly Street. Do I have a motion to open the hearing?
I'd like to make a motion to open the hearing for the well variance and septic LUA request at 58 Kelly Street.
And I second that, and all those in favor, Carolyn Griffin,
Aye.
Eric Otterson, aye. The hearing is now open.
Thank you.
Will.
So we received a well permit application for a new well for 58 Kelly Street here in Auburn. Matthew Holub is the property owner. Mr. Holub is here at the meeting this evening. Thank you for coming.
You're welcome.
So the well permit application did come with a plan, and so the plan shows a very small lot, and Jordan and I have visited the site this afternoon, and Mr. Holub has come in a few times over the past couple of years, kind of I think wanting to figure out how to get a well on his property. Currently, right now, and thank you for bringing in a large plan, but the plan that you provided to us, you did have in your packets, shows an existing shallow well cover off of the property. And it looks like it's identified about 77 feet, as noted from a Title V inspection. That information was taken from the septic system. So the dwelling is served by this shallow well and a private septic system. On the plan, one of my questions, I just wanted to confirm, Mr. Holub, is the existing shallow well cover, that is the shallow well that's serving your dwelling, correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, that's what I thought. I just wanted to confirm that.
It's a field stone, it's 24 feet in depth.
Okay. So 24 feet deep?
Deep.
Okay. And when you purchased the property, it's my understanding from our discussions in the past that this well, you have the rights to, even
I
though
have
it's
an
not on
easement,
your property?
Yes, there's a right of way to the well for maintenance and service.
Okay. And have you ever had the well serviced?
No.
Okay. And any well testing done on it, on the shallow well?
When I bought the house, yes.
Okay. And any problems with the well quality?
Not at that time, no.
Okay,
I haven't had it tested since.
okay. And that was about 20 years ago?
It was 2002. It's 2002.
2002, okay, wonderful. So this, lot is, as you can see, a small lot, and Mr. Holub has submitted this well permit application for consideration to put a drilled well,
Yes.
sure, on his property. The challenge that he has identified to me, and obviously you can see on the plan, that the location of the existing septic system and the proposed new well is identified as 51 feet. Now, normally that would be 100 feet is what we require when we drill a new well. So those requirements are part of the well regulation. And also, the system is, the dwelling is served by the private septic system. So on the well, there are a number of requests that have been identified. I'll just go through them. Number one, local upgrade approval request is actually for the septic system. The applicant seeks a local upgrade approval to Title V for the construction of a private domestic water source, a private well, within 50 feet of an existing septic tank, and there's 40 feet proposed. So the 40 feet is not shown on the plan, but that's what's identified. And number two, the applicant seeks a local upgrade approval to Title V for the construction of the private domestic water source, a well, within 100 feet of the sanitary sewage soil absorption system, 51 feet proposed. So that is on the plan where the proposed well location is on his property to the existing septic system. So again, normally when we drill a brand new well, it's going to be 100 feet from any septic systems, but this one is 51 feet because of the challenges of the lot. The waiver request to the well regulation that we have is the applicant seeks a waiver to the town of Auburn well regulations, section 6.9 as stated above, and for the construction of a private well within 20 feet of an existing building, 9 feet is proposed. So again, the dwelling, the proposed well is 9 feet off of the existing house, and it looks like it's 10 feet to the approximate property line location.
In both directions, yes.
Yep. So normally that 9 feet is 20 feet according to well regulation. So this covers a number of requests that involve the septic system that has been existing for some time. We don't have any septic records for this existing septic system except for, I think, when the property transferred. So we have a Title V from about 20 years ago.
The septic tank is from 1960. That septic system was installed.
1960?
Yeah, that house was part of a community of houses that were all on a common septic, and that was taken off and put on a private one in 1960.
Okay. And you got that information, I'm guessing, when you purchased the property?
I got it later on.
Okay, all right. It's good history to have. So we do,
The house was initially part of the farm, but it was taken by adverse possession. And that's the reason why all these funny property lines exist. The man had to sell parcels off to pay the taxes. And in the end, he lost the house, but not before he cut his own well off. And, you know, that's a shame. It makes it tougher for me.
so the existing record that we have for Title V, we have a Title V inspection report from 2001. And at that time, it needed further evaluation by the local approving authority, which is consistent with when there is a well that the inspection requires that the well be tested. So there was a well test done at that time in 2001, and it appeared to pass Title V. So that was, again, 2001. So I think that kind of gives you the summary of at least the request that we received from the property owner. And when Jordan and I went out to the property, just to kind of put our eyes on it, it is a very tight, it's a tight lot. What's shown here on the plan, it looks like approximate property lines are identified, and the approximate location for the septic system. So we would probably want to see that that is, you know, solidified. Mr. Holub, have you had a professional land survey done for your property?
Well, yeah, that's this.
So this plan, I believe, is for the proposed well location, but I believe what's identified here are all approximates,
Okay.
approximate locations.
I did with Cullen Engineering.
Oh, okay,
They're no longer.
okay,
And my copy of that survey is, I had a prospective buyer ask to borrow it, and then he never brought it back. So that's $500 up the chimney. At the time, now it's $2,500.
yeah. And the existing septic system, obviously, we want to make sure that that is, you know, that's functioning properly, and there's not going to be any concerns with putting a brand new well within 51 feet of an existing septic system. And so that would be also something that we'd want to make sure, perhaps get a Title V inspection to make sure that the existing septic system is operating correctly, so that we're not putting a new well with something that could possibly have problems. So those are some of the initial thoughts. Happy to, you know, answer any questions or kind of see what your thoughts are for.
How long do you usually, is septic Title V usually inspected? Like, is there a certain time frame that stuff has to be inspected, or is it once per lifetime, or is it once every 25, 50 years? Is there?
Yeah, typically if the property is going to transfer, so if the owner was to sell the property, an inspection is required by the state. There are exceptions to that rule. They have a number of different exceptions to when the system has to be inspected, or if there is leeway, sometimes when it transfers to like an immediate family member or something like that. But we don't have anything more current for the existing septic system being inspected from the last time we have a note is 2001. And I think, Mr. Holub, you had said that it hasn't been inspected, that
No.
you're aware of since then.
Nope,
Okay. Now, you having any issues with it?
no.
Okay.
I just, not too comfortable with the idea of someone else controlling my water.
Yeah.
And it's in the vicinity of farm, and it is surface water. And I mean, I drink bottled anyway. It's just for bathing and, you know, hand washing and things like that. But I can definitely tell you that if there were a well on my property, it would be a lot higher value So, and as I've said, my initial goal here is to drill it, case it, and cap it for now, so that I can, you know, hand pick who's gonna put the pump in and who's gonna run the line. I'm being real cheap about it. You know, the issue I had was that, as the bids were coming in, everybody wanted to do packages. Now, in years past, when I worked with other people, they would have separate contractors do the separate phases. And that's what I'm planning to do here. You know, like I said to you privately, the most important part is the drilling part, because, you know, if the price gets too high, it's never gonna happen. You know, the other stuff, you know, you can have price wars over those other things, but I mean, there are pump companies that don't own a drilling rig. All they do is put pumps in, and so the price is lower. But when you're the guy with the rig, you can set your own price. So I'm trying to get this done. I've got a couple guys in mind that are old timers, and they charge old time prices. So that's pretty much my end of things.
And I definitely understand.
So this is not going to be turn a faucet. You know, when a job is done, they'll do the flow test, they'll do the back test, and they'll provide you with the drilling log, and that's all you're going to get initially, because we're not going to do the tie-in until afterward. You know, I need to be able to afford the drilling part.
And I guess, just so you're aware of, for when the well permit is issued, that would be for the plan, the location for the well, if there's any conditions, any requirements for that.
Yeah.
So the permit gets issued to the registered well driller, so they have to be licensed by the state.
No, I understand.
So, yeah, and so that permit gets issued, that allows them to drill in the location that's approved on the plan. And then they'll go through the process that they have to. So they have to provide well completion report.
Right.
They have to do the flow test, as you mentioned, well quality. We have to go out and make sure that it is where it is, and then we get the well as-built. So we will issue a well certificate, so approving the use, once we get all of those
Right.
items identified and approved. So that,
How long can the permit stay open once it's been issued?
I mean, quite honestly, most people, when they're putting in a well permit application, they're looking to do it as fast as possible and get it turned around. I don't typically have somebody that doesn't want to complete all the steps.
The other thing is this, how long is this survey good for? Let's say I withdraw the application due to money or whatever. I haven't seen the latest round of bids. How long is this good for if I reapply later on?
I think for the plan that you've submitted, I think for the application, that's what has to be reviewed to make sure that the town is comfortable with all of these things, and if there's any other requirements.
I think by just looking at this, Mr. Hall, is one of the things that I see here is, you know, the 45, you know, the approximate property line. When whoever did this, Mr. LaJoy, could this 45 feet by 80 feet by 80 feet by 45 feet, could it actually be larger than that? Because it's listed as approximate. So could it actually be 65 feet? Could it be 90 feet?
The
Could this be
pins,
larger?
the pins, in the deed, you've got the deed, I didn't bring the deed. In the deed, it says 80 on one side, 95 on one side, 45 on another side, and 50 on the final side. So the question you're asking, there's a bit of meat to it. But, and that's on the pins that are in the ground. And since I've had the place more than 20 years, you know, the way that works.
So the property could actually be bigger than what is on the plan in front of us.
Yeah, I'm not, let me see, 45, 45. I know on the deed, one of the sides is 50. And I know on the deed that it's 80 on one side and 95 on the other. It's a bit of a trapezoid. It's not a parallelogram like this.
So that's what, I think that answers my question is, I think,
There is wiggle room if that's what you're asking.
yeah, and I think I would want to know exact, because we're looking at cutting the distance in half
Yeah,
for the proposed well, which is, not, you know, that's,
no small potatoes.
right. I would want to see a concrete and accurate, not approximate, property line knowing exactly what you're going. Because if this property is bigger, you may go from 51 feet to maybe 70 feet.
It's
Which is
not
a lot
that much
easier.
bigger.
Well,
But yes, I
You know what I mean?
understand.
Like, it could be in your favor too. So I think there is benefit to getting a more accurate size of the property as well. This convex movable thing, is that something that's on your property?
It's a trailer, yes,
It's a trailer,
a
okay.
storage trailer.
Yeah. And I'm right in assuming that the well can't be 10 feet from the property line? Is that what it is?
Actually, if I can just, if I may, that Connex trailer actually is not in that location.
No, I moved it in anticipation of the
Okay.
drilling truck.
Okay, so that Connex trailer, just for the board's knowledge, that's actually moved now, and that's in front of the shed, and I apologize. Jordan took some great pictures to kind of give you a understanding. Yeah, thank you. So this is the front of, that's the front of the property. So here's the house, and you can line yourself up.
Thank you.
And then I did, Mr. Holub had submitted this some time ago. So it does look like, I'm not, just looking at this quick claim deed. And it looks like it was recorded in '02, does that sound about right? It does identify 45 feet on one side, 80 feet on one side, 45 feet on one side, and 80 feet on one side. So that appears to be consistent with the plan. It's just
Okay.
the concern
All
is
right.
that these are all approximate locations, and where the septic system is approximate.
Yeah, my old
concern,
survey,
right.
was those other numbers I told
Yeah.
you.
So hold up, when you say your corners are staked, did Cullinan Engineering, did they stake those for you?
No, they found them with a metal detector. But they worked from the granite marker down the end of the street, and where they found the first one, that was right where it was supposed to be. And then in succession, they just went all around and found the rest of it.
So they had a fairly easy time doing the survey? Okay.
You know, the other thing we also have to, you know, back in, when we look at this 2001 is when the septic was, you know, something else that would make it a little more palatable to consider would be to test the septic again. Because we're close, we're more than half, you know.
And And
for your own I mean, it's
Yeah.
clearly for
Right.
your own or whoever's protection.
And remind me again, what is the issue with the existing well?
Well, you know, I mean, it's not faulty. I just, if I ever decided to sell, it'd sure be a whole lot easier with a well on my property. Plus, it's a farm, and there's farm runoff, and it's,
Oh,
it's basically a giant puddle.
gotcha.
So, you know, which isn't a problem if you're not drinking it. But,
Sure. But, yeah, sure, the
and
sellers, it would
there's
be.
purifiers and
Yeah.
stuff, and I could go that route. I mean, I got a ton of options. I just, I'm sort of going by how it used to be when we just, when we just walked in and got it done. Back then, a well was $3,500.
Yeah,
You know,
Yeah.
I totally understand times have changed.
yeah.
What are you looking for approximate cost for all of this stuff?
So if I can sink the shaft for $7,500 and get that buttoned up and approved this year, then when my son is out of school and working, and we can pool our money together, then I can have the pitless adapter put in, the pump dropped. All the rest of the stuff is already there. It's for the, you know, for the other well. So, you know, the tank and the switch and all that stuff. So in a way, I'm in no hurry, but in a way, I do want to get the most expensive part out of the way. I realize it's unusual.
And Mr. Holub, if I may, I am no expert at deeds by any means, but does the deed that you have, when you purchase the property, will they allow you to put a brand new drilled well for the easement?
I mean,
Because that would give you, you know, like 70,
oh, I know.
70 plus feet
Right,
from your
that would
existing
be a
septic.
slam dunk, but it's sort of, you know, it's not on the property, you know? It's just, you know, I'll put it this way. It's a quirky little house. The property's weird enough without some crazy thing like doing that. I mean, I'll just go with what I have. If I were to have to do it that way, I would just, you know, just do a Regis and stick with what I've got, because now you're talking about, I just, when I put the place out to have people give me quotes on it, they kept giving me that strike for, no, the easement, that's too weird, we don't want to, and I'd still have the easement. I mean, it would save me money in other ways. The line is already there, the wiring is already there, it's all there, but I'm not, that leaves a taste in my mouth. I probably wouldn't do that.
So you have the easement, but you prefer to put the well on your own property?
Well, right, I mean, besides, I'm not really sure if drilling a whole brand new well counts as maintenance. It seems to me like taking advantage. You know, I get along good with these folks, and I want to keep it that way.
So I think, you know, moving forward, I think because this is such a, it's a heavy ask
Yeah.
for in one meeting
Absolutely.
to come
I had
half.
no designs on walking out of here with any kind of an answer. You know, this is the part where I bring you the facts, and you know, furrow your brows and mull over it.
Well, I think we can, you know, maybe not give you a 100% answer tonight, but I would almost feel better in almost giving you, you know, some like marching orders as far as
Yeah.
this is kind of what we're thinking, and typically how we've, at least how I like to handle things is not being the subject matter expert in this stuff, is to have we come up with what we need, and then you accomplish that however you want to accomplish that.
Sort of
That
what
way
I
we're
figured.
somewhat, you don't have to schedule a meeting and get, I mean, I'm assuming that we have to do the proper thing with, you know, the approval of the variance has to come through us.
Sure, yeah.
But all the nitty gritty back and forth and this and that and everything, I don't think it needs to involve us as far as the work to get done, what we need to get done, and we come up with what we need to get done tonight. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, I'm happy, you know, the health department obviously will work with Mr. Holub. I think that, you know, understanding his challenge, and I understand why he may not want to drill a new well with an easement, and the, you know, the challenges for that. I understand why he wants to put the well on his own property, and he's got a challenge, definitely, with the space. I guess we can certainly work with him. I think it just like within the framework of maybe what the board's requirements are, I guess I want to make sure that the existing system that he has is operating correctly, so we're not putting a brand new well, you know, in close proximity to a system that may not pass. You know, I have no reason to say it may not pass. It's just, it's an older system.
Right.
So if there was some sort of, like maybe there's a survey, and it sounds like you did have a survey, to know exactly these locations, maybe we can work out having at least a Title V inspection to know that the system is operating correctly, and we're not gonna have any concerns,
All right.
you know, for this system. So that when we put the well in, that we're not putting it in a location that is going to be in harm's way, especially, you know, the cost of the system is going to be, it's a costly item.
And especially if, right, if your goal is thinking, oh, if people buy it, I mean, that's the thing, you know,
Right.
you want to make sure you're passing on a good, safe system to them.
So I think just from hearing, you know, some of the directors thing, I think I would like to see a more accurate survey without any approximations, but the actual true property lines.
Yeah, I don't think we normally see just approximates,
Yeah.
really, in our well assessments normally, do we? It's usually pretty well surveyed.
Yeah, I mean,
properties.
here's the thing,
So,
when it's a small lot,
Yeah.
it becomes more important. You
Yeah.
know, when you have
Yeah.
larger lots and, you know, you're talking about putting a well or a septic and they're not anywhere close to
Mhm.
any property lines, this one is close, it's right up against the property line on
Yeah.
both sides, and it's right up against where the existing septic system. I mean, obviously you can see the house.
Yeah.
The house is challenged with the property lines as well.
Right.
So, you know, I do agree, I think the value of the property increases if you can get the well on it. And I wanna help him do that. I think it's just a matter of how we get there. Making sure the septic system's operating correctly, and we can get an inspection done. I think that would help, having a survey done so that we know exactly where the lines are. So when we put the well in, that we know those locations. So if we could do those things initially, then I think that, then we would have a plan that we would know, it's not approximate, where you're asking the board for, waivers.
So why don't we do this? Why don't we, you know, come up with recommendations of a current Title V inspection of the septic, and then also an accurate plan of the property with all the exact measurements, not the approximates.
Survey.
Survey, sorry.
Survey.
Yep, survey,
Yeah.
sorry. And then, yeah, inspect the current Title V, more accurate land survey. And I think that would
This
get
would
us
get
closer.
Right, I think it could get us closer to
Alright.
be able to, maybe I can work with you on when the Title V assistant inspector goes out, they might be able to locate the corners of the system, and that way, when a surveyor comes in, if they know exactly where the tank and the four corners of the system, then they can now locate that on a plan. You can work with your engineer to be able to make sure that this 51 feet is really 51 feet. And I guess to the chair's point, maybe it's more. Maybe you have more land than you thought you did.
All right.
We could start with that,
Yeah,
and
I
then
think that's
maybe-
something that would make, again, tough ask, but
Yeah.
something that could, certainly make it more palatable coming forward when we know the septic is solid.
Yeah.
If we know that maybe the property lines are a little bit wider, or maybe if they're even shorter, well, then that becomes more important with
Facts,
with
exactly.
that, so.
Yeah.
I think that would help us, so I don't know if we already did a formal motion, I mean, it's all,
I mean, we could
just continue the
We
hearing.
could continue it,
Yeah.
and then I can work with Mr. Holub and see if he's, what his timeline is, and we could bring it back. Or, I don't know, Mr. Holub, I want to give you the option. Is that
That's
sound
what I
like-
expected.
Oh, okay, all right. That sounds like something that's
I know
agreeable
what I've
to
got.
you. What's that?
I know what I've got.
And listen, we're more than willing to work, get whatever we get, so this is safe for you, whoever the property could transfer to, safe for the environment, all that other stuff too. So if there's a way that we can get this done safely, then, and properly, then, we're all for it, so.
Understood.
All right.
So maybe we do a motion
Yeah.
to continue the hearing?
I'd like to, motion to continue the hearing for the well variance and septic LUA at 58 Kelly Street.
And I would second that, and all those in favor signify by saying aye. Eric Goodison, aye.
Carolyn Griffin, aye.
Here it is. If I continue.
Great.
All right.
We'll talk, once you want to give us a call at the office.
Thank you.
We'll kind of figure out what the next steps.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Holub.
Thank you for your time.
Absolutely. You bet. Till next time.
That was
Thanks.
helpful. Thanks for bringing in the large plan.
Oh, believe me, I need it.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
All right, so going into, next we have the tobacco control violations, where do we stand on those?
Oh, yes. What-
Yes, we did receive payment for some of the outstanding violations that were issued. So I think all of the violations for the 3 establishments have all been paid and are in the process of being rectified. The renewal season has come upon us, and our new tobacco permits have gone out in the mail. Every application was renewed before the end of the fiscal year, and we were able to issue permits for July 1st for all of our, we were down to 20 tobacco establishments.
First time ever, I think everything was on time.
On
We were
time.
all excited.
Awesome.
Excellent, great. And then the solid waste recycling events, we have the Household Hazardous Waste Day,
Yes.
June 22nd, and it's always a pretty well-received, successful event, so did you have something, you said you had something?
Yeah, so I wanted to let the board know that, just a reminder, we had to have it in a different location, so we actually held it at DPW, and it went like unbelievable, really, really smooth.
Why the change from Oregon?
So they were doing a paving project.
Oh,
If you
okay.
go by Corrigan, you'll see like a couple trees down in the front, some old, I think the trees were dead, and they did a whole paving project. And they were not sure on the timeline, so they were gonna be kind of tied up June, July-ish. So, they are wonderful to work with. They've let us use that space at least 10 plus years that I can remember. So we had to kind of come up with an alternate, and so DPW was used, and then we had some satellite locations. So we had electronics up here with the Masons. We had cans, bottles, and clothing down with the scouts down at the library. And then we had the fire station did propane tanks. It honestly went really, really well. Kind of diverted traffic. So just wanted to thank Joanna Paquin, the DPW director, and her entire team for allowing us to take all of our event down there and utilize that space. Very much appreciated, and we had about 6-7 guys from DPW that did an unbelievable job. We had fire department, they helped with the propane tanks. Police, we had 3 details, and our entire team from DDIS. So Jordan, Tim, Colleen, Danielle, all participated, and really unbelievable day. So just wanted to thank everybody, and we'd like to extend like a special thank you to the CERT team, the Community Emergency Response Team, they had about 10 or 12 volunteers, and they were awesome.
They are a great, they're a great program, and they do a lot for the community, all volunteer. We're very lucky to have them, and I agree.
So Kathy Stone also is in charge of the CERT team. She was open to meeting with me and kind of talking through like where we were going to have the people. I do have some certificates, if you don't mind. We'd like to possibly just recognize
Absolutely.
the volunteers. Take a few minutes, but Central Mass Mosquito Control also came to collect tires. So we're working on getting all the totals. We'll have that probably for you at the next meeting. But it was approximately about 200 cars.
Oh, wow.
So that is really like a lot, but happy to say that it was less than what we did at the last event. So since COVID, we missed our usual time for doing the hazardous waste day every 2 years. So we went 4 years without one. So the last one was right after COVID. That one we had about 300 plus cars. So by having these on a regular basis and doing them every 2 years, that helps to kind of get people cleaned out and get those numbers kind of on a regular basis. So just wanted to let the board know we appreciate your support of letting us do this and all the help that you offer to it. Jordan and I appreciate it very much.
So our role is of
Yeah.
minimum.
I know, I was just gonna say,
So appreciate it,
Yeah.
but
Right.
but in all fairness to the CERT team who was here, in grateful recognition for your service on June 22nd, 2024 at Auburn's Household Hazardous Waste Day, your willingness to volunteer, your time and talents as a member of the CERT team sets the example for civic responsibility in our community. We applaud your commitment to environmental stewardship and community welfare. This will be signed by myself, Darlene Coyle, and Carolyn Griffin. So these members are Kathy Stone, Gary Prey, Joseph Chenette, who also works with the emergency management folks here, Anthony Pellegrino, for many years on the CERT team, Dr. Pellegrino, I should say, Cindy Koenig, Eileen Cinnamon, Norman LaFlash, David Zukowskis, Lynn LePage, Kimberly Delicio.
And then these two are from Central Mass Mosquito Control.
Excellent. And, so that would be Nicholas Ragazzino. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing the name.
good.
Jacob Mullins. The other one. So on behalf of the Board of Health, thank you all very much for your appreciation. I know it's a well-received thing, so thank you very much. All right. And that was it. We don't have any communicable disease stuff.
Oh, I'm sorry, we do have a report from the nurse.
No
These
measles
two
cases,
reports.
right?
Yeah, these are the final reports for FY '24.
Do you have a pen to sign? this
Yes,
stuff?
absolutely.
Blue, black. Should I sign it blue or black?
Who's good? That's what we got. Mine's blue too. It matches.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
I'll leave these open for you. Actually, we don't need to sit here and watch us sign these, so without, I'll just make a motion to adjourn.
Yep.
I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Eric Addison, aye.
Carolyn Griffin, aye.
The meeting is adjourned. Thank you.
Thank you.